Hi everyone, this is the Wreckcreate reality podcast with Michael and Teresa. Today we are talking the Traitors US Season 3 Grand Finale. For anyone who hasn't watched the show, there are massive spoilers ahead. In today's episode, Danielle goes to Britney, oops, you did it to me, again. The power of the seer, is that an advantage or a curse? The fire pit, was it a fiery climax or a burnout? Plus, we rate all the contestants. Would we recast them or would we just drive past them? If you've missed the episodes, you can catch all the action on your local streaming services. The Traitors US Season 3 Finale breakdown coming up.
Hello.
Hello, Traitor. And I guess this is where I'm like, I take out the envelope and I'm like, okay, are you a traitor or faithful?
It's hard to breathe with this thing. I should have got one with mouth holes.
Yeah, it is.
I have to say, it doesn't quite work without the cape.
No, we'll have to get that for next time.
Yeah, okay. We're building our budget. We're building our... I'm going to choke. We're building our budget. We're building our props. We'll do a bit better next time. But we're slowly building our set. Finale. It's all done. It's all dusted. What did we think overall? First impressions. Happy?
Yes. I'm actually very, very happy, especially with the outcome. With regards to, I remember I'm comparing this to like the UK series, which we had watched before this, and I didn't like the outcome of like how Leanne had won the finale. But this one actually felt very satisfying, and it was also the first time we actually had so many faithfuls in the fire pit.
It's interesting because the big reaction I've read online through media is actually the adverse, in that it wasn't dramatic enough and there wasn't enough suspense and there wasn't a twist and there wasn't... Do you know what I mean? Because
right.
I think in the past, if you think about the most compelling seasons, there is always maybe one traitor left in the midst or a little bit of suspense. This was left a little bit without suspense because the traitors the faithful didn't end up killing each other as they did in the UK version.
Yeah.
I have to say I was satisfied with it because it was something different, refreshing and new. In order for the good seasons to shine, you want the potential for there to be satisfying, safe, and okay seasons, like endings like this, where the good guys win,
and I think maybe with regards to some of the other seasons, like I kind of felt like the good guys didn't win. That I remember like with the UK, I think there was like Harry and Molly, at the end, and I just felt so bad for Molly.
Yeah, they make great television.
They do.
Those episodes, but they often leave you with a bit of a heartache afterwards.
Yeah,
this one left me with an okay feeling.
Yeah, and I'm also glad that the traitors didn't try and vote each other out. I'm glad that they were actually on the same page. I felt like, to be honest, they all deserved it.
Yeah.
But that's me. I like happy endings. I mean, I'm a rom-com girl, so
we'll
I like happy endings. I like happy fair endings.
Yeah, we'll get into this later where we fully evaluate and break down the ending, what could have made it better, how it ranks with other seasons. And generally, when you think of thrillers like, say, Seven or these shows, there's a twist at the end where the good guy wins, but it comes at a cost. Do you know what I mean? You think about Seven, Brad Pitt, but Gwyneth loses her head, right? I feel like this didn't have a cost to it, to the dramatic storytelling, and we were left thinking there would be a big cliffhanger, but there wasn't.
Oh, there wasn't,
and so that's why maybe people were left going, is that it?
Yeah, and I think also because the previous episode, we were kind of left on a cliffhanger where they were at the round table. Yeah. And it seemed like Danielle might be voted out, but we're not sure. So it was left on a cliffhanger. So everyone's like, oh my God, they couldn't wait to watch. I couldn't wait to watch the finale episode. And it turned out that, yes, she is voted out. Great, finally. But then, with the power of the seer as well, nothing really maybe came much out of it. Yeah,
exactly. And so just recapping the last episode, because we actually didn't get to talk about that because, life.
And also we felt there maybe wasn't
that much to talk about.
I think because Danielle didn't get voted out or banished, there wasn't that much to talk about. We were kind of like
the only thing that happened really in that episode was Danielle recruiting Britney, which was a predictable thing that the show had been setting up all along. The show had been hinting all along, can't wait to get Britney in here. She's my best friend. She's the one I trust. I want to do it with Britney.
It's like Christina Aguilera
It kept
and
on
Britney
repeating
all over
it.
again.
Yeah, it kept on repeating this narrative. So if it had not played it out, it would have been very unsatisfying. Obviously, it played it out, and what we got was ultimately them betraying each other. But so what happens is we get to the round table last episode. And we're left on a cliffhanger as to it's a tie vote between Britney and Ivar. Danielle and Ivar, they re-vote, and then Britney, sensing that Dolores has flipped to Danielle, goes to Danielle as well, and is the sealing vote, really. But she was gone anyway.
Yeah, she was the vote that kind of like brought about Danielle's demise.
But the rest of the room had pretty much sealed it anyway.
I think so. And I think when we've watched other... on YouTube, seasons of like Uncloaked, it seems like Danielle, to be honest, she would not have been there, I think, at the end, because I think there was just too much suspicion on her, and Britney being like a day one traitor, she was meant to, keep supporting Danielle, but as a traitor, you have to do what a traitor does, which is to,
be treacherous.
Yeah, be treacherous.
The only
and look
way I
out for
think
yourself.
Danielle could have won this show. Let's talk about Danielle and her game a little bit. The only way I think she could have gotten through this is if maybe she'd gotten an extra vote from the room, say Dolores, and Britney had voted with her, and then they just keep on voting out faithfuls until they become a majority.
Right.
And they had to really stand strong as a voting bloc, like a two. That two. You get Dolores, you vote out, say, Ivar or Dylan or Gabby. Then you go again, you vote out, Dylan, Ivar, Gabby. And then you get the seer advantage, and she brings in Danielle, and she says she's a faithful. Something like that.
She brings in Danielle.
So Britney has the seer advantage.
Yeah.
She has the seer advantage.
Yeah.
She brings in Danielle.
Gabby?
What she could have done. I'm talking about what they could have done to win.
Right.
And then she brings in Danielle. She says that Danielle's a faithful. And then you go from there. And you keep on using that voting majority to just, cull the numbers until you win. That's the only path I could have seen. Danielle winning. But the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
I think if you live the traitorous life and you backstab and you betray, inevitably you're going to get done in that same way.
Yeah, I think so. I think there probably was a chance, but maybe I don't know if it's like that high a chance, because I think, to be honest, like when people found out that Danielle was a traitor, I think no one was surprised. No one was surprised, So the writing was on the wall. It was
shaking, the performative stuff.
Yes.
It was getting a bit much. There's no way anyone was probably going to willingly take her to the end and say, yeah, let's go to green with you and Danielle and find out what's what. It was going to be a tough path for her.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what did you think about so Danielle had just gone up to the podium and she's about to review whether she is a traitor or a faithful, and she goes around and thanks everyone. Okay, Dylan, thank you. Dolores, thank you. Ivar, thank you. And when she comes to Britney, it's like, oh, Britney.
This was nasty. I hated this.
Yeah.
I think maybe what we could have is in the show for next seasons, they can't violate this traitor code, right? Because they even say at the beginning of the show, you will not out another traitor as part of the traitor code. But it's just too easy for them to spoil the show by getting up there and going, hey, everybody, look at Danielle, look at Britney, sorry. I'll give you a clue. That happened in the UK version too. I'm going to give everyone a big clue. And he wrote down like Wilfred or something. It just spoils the game from then on, I think, and stops the intrigue. After that, I think the rest of the faithfuls had such a big suspicion on Britney that her game couldn't really flow from there.
Yeah.
And I think it put a bad taste in my mouth.
Do you think if
shit.
Danielle didn't do that, would they have voted out Britney anyway? Because there was kind of suspicion on Britney early on in the game, and that it kind of just got flown out the window.
Yeah, and she didn't really perform great as a traitor. I think her body language became more tense, more aggressive. There was a marked change, a shift for me.
Well, there was definitely a
marked
change, marked change, because like she started crying, like when she had to like vote out Danielle.
The full Danielle. She did the full Danielle where she broke down and cried at the table.
But except I think her one was genuine though. Like Danielle's one I didn't feel was genuine.
Yeah.
I felt like Britney, she honestly felt really bad about it because it was, like we said, like, you know, she did it again to Danielle. Like, you know, like so many years after Big Brother, she's done it again to her. It would feel awful. I mean, I think that it was genuine. Whereas I didn't feel like Danielle was crying over Caroline. That was genuine. Well, what do you think?
Well, I think yes, and also that Danielle deserved it. Because Danielle, she says, oh, you did it to me again, but really you were using the guilt of the past relationship. And you brought this up, actually. This is your point.
Yeah,
so,
this is my point. And now you're like just hijacking all my points.
Yeah,
and I'm so sick of this.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at her cards and I'm stealing her cards. This is actually your point. Go.
Yeah, you stole all my points for Survivor, and then now you're doing it for Traitor again.
Go.
Okay, so what I thought was...
Go.
Yeah.
It's ours. We're a couple. Okay, our points. Yeah, but you should say it.
Yeah, okay. So I felt like, to be honest, like Britney was... Okay, when Danielle actually chose Britney to... when she actually recruited Britney, that actually wasn't a choice. I mean, it was either you come and join me or you get murdered.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there wasn't
Ultimatum.
a choice. It was a force. Like, I mean, what could Britney do? Like, you know, just get murdered and not try and survive?
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah, precisely. So that wasn't really much of a choice. Secondly, I think as much as she says like, oh, Danielle was like, oh, I just want like someone who's like supportive, someone that I believe in, that we can get through to the end, and it's a sisterhood. Well, she hasn't really like proved that with Caroline, firstly. Secondly, I believe she knew that Britney felt so much guilt, and that was the reason why she chose Britney, because really the first obvious choice for her to murder would be Britney. Like, why should she keep Britney around? Because then it would seem as if like Britney had someone to protect her. But the main reason she chose Britney was because I felt like she could manipulate her guilt into I guess, you know, into like saving herself.
Yeah. She manipulated that shame, that guilt, to get her to shift the way she wanted to. And when she didn't go that way, she doubled down on that shame, that guilt.
Yeah.
You did it to me again. Like, that's the game, girl. Like, how dare you? You did the same thing to Carolyn. You did the same thing to Rob.
Yeah.
You're being a bit hypocritical now.
I think so.
And you brought her in, let's face it, to use her.
Yeah.
To use her as a number that you could control. And you can say all you want about friendship, but you were using the past guilt of your relationship to have her vote the way you wanted her to vote. You weren't having her as an independent player. You were bringing her on as an extra for yourself.
Yeah, I think so. You know,
that's not friendship. That's
well,
that's not equal friendship. That's you know, that's a +1.
That's just a +1. That's just a number.
Yeah.
That's really, and I think that's how I felt. And to be honest, I felt like Britney really felt bad. And yeah, like she felt that Britney owed her, and so, you know, when Britney betrayed her, damn right, it felt like a betrayal, but you know, she also deserved it. So what do we think of Danielle's game?
That's what I was going to talk about. It was interesting that everyone afterwards was saying, oh, she deserves an Emmy, she deserves an Oscar, what a performance. Because to us at home, what we saw was maybe over performative, overacting, a little bit cringy, a little bit manipulative. We've seen past contestants say it was over the top, obvious, and disgusting even. I think someone said egregiously bad, Rob said. But here on the show, we're seeing Dylan and Ivor and Gabby say, wow, she was amazing. She was brilliant. Where does it lie? Where do you think it lies?
Well, I think it's interesting because when she was on the podium, it was suddenly like she could show the true Danielle. She was like, you know, she had her hair like confident, down there. Swag. You know, she was like suddenly confident. You know, she wasn't that like shaking little mouse that she kind of like portrays herself as. And you're like, oh, that's actually that's the real her. Yeah, you know. So I do feel like, for me, I felt like it was too performative.
Well, she had to act her ass off. Obviously, she went a little bit too far, and it probably.
And I think the reason why it felt performative was because I don't think that's actually her in real life.
No.
So I think if she was maybe like, say, like Caroline probably is somewhere like, you know, like that, you know, and so, you know, if you had to like act it out, I think maybe it would feel more natural. But whereas for Danielle, she seems so far away from this kind of persona.
I think
and that's why she
people,
just exaggerates, and, you know, she doesn't actually really know what it entails, I think.
Yeah. And I also, going on from that, I think that's why people feel so hurt and betrayed by it. Because I heard that she did swear on her children. She did do all these extra measures. And the performance was 24/7. And so when people found out the truth, they were shocked but not surprised. And a little bit betrayed. Because you're seeing, Ciara, Rob, other people saying very nasty things about her post-show. But anyway, I think let's underline Danielle. I think she did okay. She lasted the longest of the OG traitors. So,
sorry, I've just got to interrupt somewhere. Would you ever... I don't know about the whole swearing on your children thing, because I feel like that's always very...
I never would. I wouldn't even swear on Sherlock.
Sherlock.
I wouldn't even swear on Sherlock. I think that's... You know, you find a way... If someone says, do you swear on your children? You might have to say, yeah, I do. But you wouldn't bring it up. And you wouldn't, you know...
Especially not for a game show.
Not for a game show. Not for a measly... Not measly. But these guys, I assume, are all successful in their real world.
And did you get paid each episode? Like, you know, a really good amount.
It's not millions of dollars. It's not worth such a sacrifice. And I always am superstitious about these swearing on things. That they'll come back and haunt you or bite you. So I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and also I think people who kind of like swear on it... Well, maybe it's like, you know, is it...
Overcompensating.
It's overcompensating. Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah, I always feel like if you're doing that, why are you doing that?
Yeah, why do you feel like the need to do that?
Why do you feel the need to swear?
Yeah.
So now Britney is the lone traitor, and she has the seer advantage, it's revealed. So Danielle goes home, flicks her hair, of course I'm a traitor, bitch, and all this, you know. See you, girl. I'm fabulous. I should be an actress. And then the seer advantage goes to Britney. Who, okay, we know she chose Gabby.
Yeah.
Is there someone else that she could have chose, do you think? Or was Gabby the one?
Well, to be honest, I think after what had just happened, because Danielle had put her on the spot and she actually had that crying episode that she did, maybe she already felt like she was in the spotlight. So unless she was planning to actually implicate someone, I don't know if she could have chosen anyone else. I mean, at the time, Gabby seemed like she had quite a bit of suspicion on her still from Dylan.
She needed an ally, didn't she? At that point. And so maybe that's why she chose Gabby, so that she would have an ally.
Like, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for her to, like, you know, choose anyone, like, say, Dylan. I don't think Ivor... Not Dolores. I mean,
they're working against those people.
Yeah, you're kind of like working against them, and also like they haven't had that much suspicion.
Yeah,
on them.
Here's the problem with the seer advantage, and I do like the seer advantage, but I don't know how to I don't know if the play of it has been fulfilled to its fullest potential. But the problem with the seer advantage that we've seen in the UK version, Series 3, and US Season 3, is that no matter what you do with it, it casts suspicion on both players in a way.
Yeah, so kind of like that coffin challenge where, you know, like 3 people get put in a coffin. Even if they are faithful, they will still have suspicions on them.
Yeah, both players get a bit of stink on them. So it's a really tough advantage.
Well,
I don't know how you can fix it.
Okay, do you like the seer advantage? Do you like the seer advantage, and do you like the fact that the traitors are not reviewed in the finale?
I love that.
Oh, you do? Because I actually kind of prefer the old way.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know if I like the new...
The format sort of thing.
Format? Yeah.
Okay. I like it because I think it leaves a lot more mystery at the end. Because in the past you could sort of calculate how many traitors were left. Now you're a bit uncertain. In the past, you know, if you got out 4, you could calculate maybe they recruited 1. That person's a traitor, so there's only 3 of us left. Okay, there must be 1 left here. And you saw people sort of calculating there has to be 1 left in the past. Now you don't know. So you don't know the numbers, so you're left in the air. That's I think what the producers wanted. In terms of the seer advantage, I like the seer advantage.
Okay, you do?
Okay. I do, but I think it needs a bit of tuning in terms of its gaming, how it works. I think I think maybe you need a partial reveal instead of a full reveal.
How would a partial reveal come about?
So, for example, you can reveal who the other player is. You can find out, the player can find out who the other player is, but then all the other players know who you are. So, for example, if I'm Britney, I can find out if Gabby is a traitor or a faithful, but now Dolores, Iva, and Thingo will see who I am. So I can choose to lie, hide when no one knows, or reveal. If I reveal or show, then everyone will see who I am, that I'm a traitor. So I have to hide. But then...
But how can you hide if you're like if you become a seer? If you're a traitor and you become a seer?
Well, you can choose to not reveal it. I don't know. I haven't really thought it through. But I feel like it could add another element like that where it involves all the players and you have layering of lies and truth and there can be alternate truths through it. I don't know. It's confusing. Let me write this down one day. I haven't thought it through. But I do think it needs another twist to make it really work because now I feel like it just... causes suspicion on both those players. It's really hard to work.
Yeah.
I did think about this though. Sorry. Okay, so Dylan read it quickly. That if Britney comes down and says
Dylan should be a detective.
Yeah,
I'm like
smart.
considering like renaming Sherlock
Dylan.
to Dylan just because he's so
Guys
good
in
at like
Efron, he's smart.
like he's solving mysteries.
He's good. Like, okay. Dylan had the right instinct, which was if Britney comes down and says Gabby is a traitor, then both of them are suspicious.
Yeah.
If she comes down and says Gabby is a faithful, then we need to reevaluate everything.
Mm-hmm.
Britney read that play beautifully and said...
Dylan read that play beautifully.
No, Britney read that play beautifully and said, okay, Gabby is a faithful. So she didn't fall into that trap.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And so she set that up really well. She read the trap really well because I think the trap would have been to say you're a traitor,
and I think that it will cause some confusion and take the limelight off you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
so I think Britney's very good like that. But to be honest, I actually almost feel really sorry for her because she's only been on the job like one day.
One day, and so it's really hard to do all this.
And so it's a really, really hard thing to do, and especially like you would like a little bit more time in the game to get your footing, and then knowing that your recruiter actually betrays you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she hasn't gotten time to get used to it. You can see in this night, she just every time I've seen this seer advantage play out, the reveal. Both players are terrified.
Yeah.
They're scared because you don't know if the person sitting across from you is a killer or not.
Yeah, I did feel like, when at the seer table, like Britney, she did look a lot more confident and composed than Gabby. Like, whereas Gabby, I kind of like I think Gabby was actually maybe happy.
Time.
Yeah, Gabby was just having a good time.
But Britney was confident, composed. There were no surprises coming to her.
Yeah, it was complete opposite of the UK version where you had where Frankie had to find out was going to find out if Charlotte was a traitor.
Yeah.
And you could just see like the trepidation because Charlotte was the best friend in the game.
And the terror when it was revealed.
Like just oh my god, what am I gonna see? What if it's this? What if she's a traitor? What if she's a faithful?
And the terror when she saw the words traitor and the look that they exchanged and like, yeah, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And how conflicted, torn and hurt. It was beautiful drama.
Yeah.
But here you see Britney with no tension on her face at all. She's just like, that clues you in she's a traitor because she just knows.
Because she knows.
Way too much.
Because the thing about this game is you never ever truly know if someone is a faithful or a traitor. Unless you're a traitor. And Britney knows.
You would be terrified.
Yeah.
Like spending a month in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And coming back and doing an STD test. You'd be terrified of that result.
Why?
Why
is that?
I just saw The Hangover. But you'd be terrified.
So this is not something to do with your past history? Okay.
No, but you'd be terrified, okay? Like this is... This is like, here is the test result. Okay. This is what I did think, though, that Britney could have done as a twist, right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, what could she have done to really mess this up? And what she could have done is gone to Gabby and said, I'm a traitor.
Also revealed to Gabby that
Yeah,
she's
just
a
said,
traitor.
"Look, I'm a traitor." And like free willingly offer it up. I go, I'm a traitor, Gabby. I'm gonna say tomorrow that you're a traitor. Good luck. Game on, right? And then you go down to the breakfast table. You let Gabby go in first. I don't know if they're allowed to do this. Probably not. But you let Gabby go in first and tell everyone, the dinner last night, Britney she told me she's a traitor. And that she said that, she was going to say, I'm a traitor, guys. Right? She's coming for me. And then, Britney, you walk in there and you say exactly what you said at the dinner table, the breakfast table. You walk in and you just say, I am proud to announce that Gabby is a faithful. So basically you're setting up Gabby to accuse you and to put the stink on her and you. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think that would have been fascinating had she done that, but obviously that requires a lot of risk.
A lot of acting. Because I think you would have to... So this is like... Sorry, I'm just trying to work this in my head. So this is so this is pretending Britney... Like say, okay, and if people think that Gabby might be a traitor, then this would be why she's saying, like, she's trying to put the twist
that
onto Britney,
and then what
which
you say,
casts suspicion on her, right?
And then what you say is, if you're Britney, you say, why would I just tell Gabby that I'm a traitor? That doesn't make any sense. Why would I say that? I didn't have to say that. That makes no sense. Of course I'm a faithful. Gabby is just stirring shit. Meanwhile, Gabby's like, but she did tell me. You know, basically you're gaslighting her.
Yeah.
You're
so
setting
like
her
an
up to
ambush,
gaslight.
Like a trap. Yeah.
Like a trap. I think that when I was watching it, I was thinking that's probably the only way that Britney could use this to set Gabby up.
Well, yeah, to be honest, actually, no, I think that could work.
Actually, okay.
Yeah, that could work.
But it would have been dang hard.
It would have been hard. I mean, it would need like acting, like an
You
Oscar
need to be Meryl Streep.
I think so.
If Meryl Streep ever gets on the show, she could do it. But
yeah, and also I've also wondered with the seer, I feel like, so I think, okay, it's not my favorite, like advantage, but I think I can see there being opportunities of where people have like revealed that they are a traitor, and then they're like, well, I would keep you in the game if you work with me. I guess that's the part that we have still not gotten into because Traitor is still in its infancy stages.
It's only season 3.
Yeah, it's only season 3. It's not like a Survivor,
48 seasons and all that.
48.
Yeah. So after the breakfast table, we see, everyone mingling and having chats. But the most interesting one is Dylan sitting down with Britney. And Dylan talks about how Danielle says, wow. Why did she say wow, Britney? And I feel like this is where Britney messed up. She didn't offer enough of a compelling or satisfying answer to Dylan as to why Danielle said the wow. And instead, she deflects and said, she sort of said something strange about all of you, she pointed the finger at you too, Dylan. She said, wow, you really, but she really didn't. She just said something like, I meant all of my chats with you, Dylan.
Or I think she said unbelievable.
Unbelievable. You're unbelievable. But, nothing really incriminating. The only incriminating thing that she said was on Britney, and that was very apparent. So for Britney to try and gaslight this and twist that around, I think was a misstep.
Yeah.
Dylan read it as acting. He goes, I know acting, and this is acting. Why would you act unless you're a traitor? I think what Britney needed to do here is set up a really good reason as to why Danielle would say wow. And I think that involves bringing up like the betrayal with like Big Brother, the guilt and everything. I don't know why she didn't do that. All she needed to do maybe, and what she probably should have done now in hindsight, is just say, look, we made a pact early on that we would vote together. She used our relationship on Big Brother and my guilt to frame me and to set me up so that I would always vote with her. I feel so betrayed. Oh my God, act dumb a little bit. Rather than all-knowing as she is. She needed to act like a little, oh my God, she's been protecting me this whole time.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what was maybe missing at the round table the previous night, was that like she cried, but then she was still upset when Danielle went, even though really the natural reaction is, okay, yeah, you're upset about betraying Danielle, but then you realize, oh my God, but my instinct was right. So I'm like, so I think
you wouldn't be upset at the wow. You'd be upset at the fact that she's a traitor.
Yeah.
That would be the the biggest surprise is, oh my God, she's a traitor. Not, she said, wow, she's mad at me.
Yeah, it would have been like, oh my God, I've been taken for a fool, like she made me feel guilty, and then, now I feel stupid, and I think that was the same thing, like, I think her, and again, this is acting, like, this is very hard, because she actually is a traitor, like, say, at the seer table, when it was revealed that Gabby was a faithful, Britney, I think she was just like, almost like, yeah, okay, that's good. I knew that all along. But really, the natural reaction, if you are a faithful, is like, oh my God, I'm so relieved. I really thought that you were a traitor because there was this, you did that and did. And, that should actually have been, I think, the natural reaction.
But she hadn't had much practice on the job. She literally had less than a day on it.
If she could do that, like, she should get an Oscar. And she should be acting.
No Oscars for anyone on the Traitors, I'm afraid. Okay, so we get to the challenge, and it's basically an Aston Martin car commercial where we see these... I didn't see the point of this challenge. I thought it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
We just saw a quick succession of car ads. Nothing much to talk about. Oh, let's talk about what they were wearing. We saw some amazing final costumes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How about what Gabby was wearing? What do you think of this? Half Audrey Hepburn at the bottom, Jenny Hepburn. Top is class, bottom is...
Ours?
You said it.
No,
it looks good.
You said it. And
it looks good because she's young, so she can pull it off.
Yeah.
But fascinating outfit.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because Gabby, like, she was on the show The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I think The Bachelorette. But then, she actually has a girlfriend.
Well, she said that after dating 26 guys, she's done with men. Which is hilarious. So they go to a challenge, and it's basically a car commercial. Nothing much to talk about there. The funny thing, though, is at the end of the challenge, Alan Cumming talks to... Presumably he talked to all of them, and he said what this win would mean to you, the money. But they only show Gabby. And Gabby says, like, oh, it would mean me and my partner can get married. Which is hilarious, because they don't show him interviewing Lord Ivar, Dolores, or the famous actor's brother, as to what the money would mean to them.
What do you think Lord Ivar would say if he said what the money means to him? What would he...
It would be magnificent. I could refuel my jet this week, and I wouldn't have to spend any money on, real estate costs. I could buy a new golden brooch. Like, this money would be a drop in the ocean for Lord Mountbatten. And Dolores, who is a housewife, I presume is very wealthy as well.
Yeah.
Because she probably gets royalties from being on TV, and she's a housewife.
She's a housewife.
She doesn't have to work in LA.
Yeah. And the housewife, I think the housewife connotation now is not the same as it was 50 years ago.
No, it's not. A housewife before was like you vacuum, you clean, you cook, right? It was, I dream of Jeannie. Now it's luxury. Now you want to be a housewife.
Now it's just a wife in a house.
Yeah. And
I want to be a housewife.
Right? I want to be a housewife. Dylan Efron. Okay, Zac Efron's probably worth 100 million, so he doesn't need the money. It's just hilarious that Alan Cumming's like, so what would this win mean to you? And all of them are just like, meh. I'm just doing this for my profile and my followers, okay, Alan?
Well, in that case, do you think...
The biggest acting they have to do is acting amazed that they've won $20,000 for a prize. You've added $20,000 to the pot.
Well, in that case, okay, do you think then, because they are all obviously accomplished, well-to-do, maybe that's why it didn't feel so treacherous at the fire pit, because they don't actually kind of need the money.
Exactly.
Whereas I think it felt like in the UK season where everyone's a commoner.
Yeah.
They actually do, the money actually means a lot.
It does.
But in
it's
this
life-changing.
one, it's like, well...
Because you see with Leanne, she's like, oh, this will change my life. I can have another child. What? These people, it makes no difference whether they split it or take it. So
and also,
I think,
it was like 200,000 split by 4, that's like, 50,000?
Which is like, 75,000 Australian, which is, like I said, that wouldn't even, like, polish Lord Ivar's Aston Martin.
He probably has... Well, maybe it was all his collection.
It was probably his car collection.
It was
like, what is my car collection doing here? Oh, wow. It's lovely to have to... It's probably his castle, man. This guy has never had to work a day in his life. Think about that. Like, from the day you're born, you have a castle that you're set to inherit.
You never have a few castles.
You never have to carry cash. You just carry a card that you just tap here, tap there, swipe. A gentleman
you
never
probably have a butler that taps for you.
Oh my gosh!
Because I think Prince Harry was like saying like he never had to carry cash. I think when he moved to LA, he was like, oh my god, suddenly I need to carry cash. You know, it's like so he must have like just okay, I'm just gonna get that, and then someone behind him just like pays for everything.
Oh yeah, he doesn't go to Kmart. Let's put it. That's why people hate royals.
Okay, so we were talking about...
Okay, so we're talking about what the money would mean to them. Nothing. It means nothing to these people. Okay, so the round table comes. Britney v. Dylan. I think Britney didn't really perform well here. I think she sort of confirmed everyone's suspicions.
Because she went hard at Dylan. And that just felt like not in character, I think.
Yeah. And if you think about it, none of the traitors have really been caught single-handedly by a faithful this season. Or they have, but the real thing that has incriminated them is going at each other. Okay, so Rob killed Bob. Then everyone suspected Rob for killing Bob.
Yeah.
Carolyn and Danielle went at each other. They both drew suspicion on each other.
Yeah.
And then Danielle left the scarlet letter on Britney, which cursed her.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course, they got caught by other faithfuls, but the real clue that led them was them fighting each other.
Yeah.
And so this stink continues on, and Britney is just left with this mark that she can't get off her. And one of the not just the mark, but one of the traits of these traitors is being overly aggressive and certain at the round table. Yeah. You can even see it. Dylan saying, I just feel like you could be a traitor. I'm just not sure. Yeah. Whereas Britney is very certain in her language.
And that is actually very opposite to what she has been before. Because like in the past, what everyone has said about Britney has been, oh, she doesn't really make a point. She doesn't really do anything. You know, she has no like accusations or no, you know, like illuminations as to like who could be a traitor. Yeah. And then suddenly at the very end in the finale to come out and be like, okay, Dylan, I think you're a traitor. Well, and at someone who is probably the most faithful of all faithfuls, you know, it does seem very suspicious.
She left herself without many paths to go down because she already confirmed that Gabby is a faithful. So there weren't many ways that she could go with this other than attacking Dylan.
To be honest, I think... Wait, did we go through that? Like, say if...
I think she should,
If... Okay, and I think, to be honest, I think I do feel actually very sorry for her because she could have, like, won some money. Like, you know, but if not for the fact that, you know, like, Danielle picked her and then betrayed her. Okay, so if Danielle had not betrayed her, do you think she would have been able to go through? Yeah,
because I think she would have still played a little naive, a little dumb, a little unknowing, and then people would have included her in this final 4 or 5. You know, but the fact that her... And Dylan even sensed it. She goes, I think there's a big chance you're a recruit. There's something that's changed about you.
I have to say, Dylan has made all the right deductions. I mean, he's made some wrong ones as well. But he has made a lot of, like, you know, I think he could deduce that, okay, Britney probably was not a day one traitor. No. You know, but more like a recruit later on in the game. Yeah.
And people... we only get to see what the edit shows us. The edit shows us with a lot of uncertainty at the table. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but and like with Dolores and Ivor, like, you know, even suspecting each other. So we think that, oh, maybe, you know, people are still going to go at each other.
Yeah, but the feeling that I get from the final conclusion is that they knew.
They knew. I think they knew. Because we kind of like, you know, we have to watch the show twice. So the first time we watch it and then the second time we make notes. And then once you kind of like know the outcome of the show and then you rewatch it again, and then you could see like, oh yeah, so yeah, there are some like, you know, parts where they're like, oh, you know, like Ivor, I suspect Dolores and vice versa.
But they fed those lines.
Yeah, but I think once you realize that at the end in the fire pit, like no one was actually going to vote each other. So they kind of all knew that Britney is a traitor and probably no one else.
They did, yeah. Because as someone, we know how these shows are put together, and in production, the producers will ask loaded questions that really guide and lead them. So, do you suspect Dolores? Yes, I suspect Dolores. Do you suspect the... I have a little bit of suspicion. I think they ask them to get quotes that are suspicious of each of the cast members. And they'll just pick and choose to edit to make us feel like this is a big suspense. But as we saw, there was no stink on any of them. It seemed like they were all very confident that each of them were faithfuls. And so let's get to the fire pit then. Okay, so obviously Britney goes. She doesn't tell them that she's a traitor, but I think they kind of knew. They get to the fire pit, and we've never seen this before, but all 4 drop green flame, indicating that they will not re-vote. Never seen this before. Even in the past, when 3 faithfuls were there, in the UK version, I think there were 4 faithfuls, they kept on voting out people.
I know.
And it seemed like they were doing it to increase their own pot.
Yeah.
This goes to what you're saying, in that we have 4 wealthy people here who don't give a about the money.
Yeah, and it's better actually for their profile if... Like, I mean, really, the money is not, it's not the big thing. It's more like, how does this look for my profile? You know, I am a public persona. I am like, like Zac Efron's brother. I cannot seem to be like grabby
over money and voting out a lord just so I could get extra $25,000.
Like, as if Ivor is going to be like, oh, I'm really worried that, he could take my share of the pie. He's not going to worry about that.
That really leads into their gameplay, though, because it allowed them to not be overreaching or grabby, right?
Or not seem selfish.
And try too hard, because Ivar was just chill about the whole thing. He was just having fun as if it was a Cluedo party at someone's house. The money obviously meant nothing to him, whereas we saw in the UK version, Leanne, how much all these players.
A lot of players they have actually come from like just very middle class, like backgrounds,
What do you think? Do you think it's better with middle class, working class people than aristocrats and wealthy celebrities?
Well, I don't know if it's better or not, but I think they're just very different gameplays. And to be honest, okay, I'm going to say, I had kind of like my skepticism, when the US Traitors season started, because I felt like the past few seasons, it's been very dramatic. I haven't liked it as much. I felt like the UK one, people actually tried to find out who a traitor is more, whereas with the US version, it felt like a lot about ego, acting, like acting, like showing off. But I have to say, this season has been great. Really, really good. I think it's changed my mind about the US season. Like, I like a lot of the characters there. There's been a lot of drama, and also I like the ending. But that's because it's got a nice happy ending, and I like that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, celebrities are a little bit more entertaining. They're a bit more fun. They know how to behave. Their fashion, their clothing. They know how to, rather than just 8 guys wearing hoodies coming up to breakfast. And they know how to create drama and all this. They know how to speak well at the round table.
And they've got very funny lines. Like Gabby has been like so funny, entertaining.
We'll get into that at the end when we talk about each of their performances, how good they were. But but I agree with you. But on the other hand, I do like it when the money and the winning means something to their lives. When they, when they say something like, "Oh, I can afford to start a family with this." It does increase the stakes somewhat, but
then again,
the game
that could also be for show. I mean, we don't know if these people, actually, maybe some of them are actually okay.
Yeah.
And you also know, like we know, like a show, like, if you're a producer, that's what you want, that's the dramatic thing about, like, someone needing the money. But maybe sometimes people don't actually need the money, and they're like, you know what, but I'll just say it anyway because it makes me look good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so reactions around the internet were anticlimactic, that it was a nothing burger, that there was no suspense, but we liked it. You liked it.
I liked it. I liked it. Did you like it?
Yeah, I felt it was a feel good ending to me. I don't mind the good guys winning for once, and therefore it sets up other seasons where it doesn't go that way, for there to be a disappointment or an adverse feeling, because if it always ends in a similar way, it becomes predictable. Do you know what I mean? Where a traitor snatches the victory away from a couple of faithfuls. You like to see this other end of the spectrum, because then it makes the other times, all the more dramatic.
Yeah, I think so.
So-
And it was a very different ending.
It was a very
to, like,
different ending.
How
We've never
all the
seen
other,
so
yeah,
many-
we have never seen this kind of ending before. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about the winners and then we might wrap it up. So, Dylan, Gabby, Ivor, Dolores. Let's go through them one by one. Okay, whether they were deserving or not. Okay. Dolores didn't do anything on this show. What do you think Dolores did? Other than wear some nice hats, I don't know what Dolores did. She didn't vote correctly.
Well, she had some very good scathing remarks about Tom Sandoval.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
and
her
also
moment
she
too.
kind of like pierced everyone, with her cheekbones.
Her cheekbones are incredible. But she didn't get... None of her instincts were correct. She didn't get a single... She didn't vote correctly once. I think I heard somewhere 8 out of 11 times she voted incorrectly.
But maybe that's also why it's kind of like solidified her status as like a faithful.
Yeah.
Because-
I wonder if one day we can work out a way that if you vote incorrectly... You don't get as much of the prize, or you don't get immunity or something.
But
In terms of the winners, I feel like...
that's meritocracy. That's not a show, though.
Yeah.
That's live. Oh, actually, no. That actually might not be live. That's an actual
Yeah.
job.
Okay, but like, okay, not a great performance by Dolores, I have to say.
No.
Lord Ivor.
I like Ivor. I mean,
think he
I
played-
know that
yeah.
I know that like Britney has said, okay, like Ivor just does nothing. He just makes tea, but he just
No,
has
he-
this very British, like
I
very
think
gentlemanly.
he played a brilliant social game.
Yeah.
In that he didn't cast any stones and he didn't receive any stones.
And also, the one thing I do actually like, and I was quite impressed with, was the fact that he opened quite a lot of the round tables and
Yeah.
be like, like
He was the
like a
diplomat.
whole, but like a diplomat, and I was like, wow, I really need to learn how to speak like that. I mean, I would get into a lot less trouble
Yeah,
if I could be
think
as diplomatic as he is.
He really conducted the orchestra, it seems like,
Mm.
and it seemed like he was pleasant to everyone, even though he was a plant and people didn't notice him, like Gabby. I feel like he played a safe game that allowed him to just last until the end. So kudos to him for
Well,
not
but that's what
offending
he said at the
anyone.
round table when suspicion was cast on him. He was like, listen, I've been a royal my whole life. My job is to actually stay in the background
Such
and
bullshit.
not actually make a big deal about myself.
It's such bullshit. Because, I mean, that's what the British royal family do. I mean, Harry, Diana, Fergie. I mean, they're everything they do is controversy and scandal and tabloid. And he's saying, like... And so that's why I'm the first openly gay royal. Lord Mountbatten. Because it's my job to not make any waves. And that's why I'm the first openly gay royal who is on a reality TV show and lives in LA.
Oh, I like
So-
Ivor. He just seems
but I like him. I like him.
I
But
do
what he
like
said
him.
then
I know. That
was
was a little
BS.
bit like kind of like eye rolling. But I do like him because he just seems like a very
Yes.
agreeable, very
course,
pleasant
very
person.
British.
I mean, like no drama, which is good. And of course, like people who are dramatic are great, but maybe they might not be great people to live with.
Yeah, he's very British. Dylan.
Oh, I think the definite MVP of the show.
Yeah. I think if there was one Faithful the Faithfuls, detective of them all, from beginning to end, other players like Sam, Tom had their moments, but he played the perfect game from beginning to end. If anyone was going to walk away with a big pot, it deserved to be him.
Yeah.
He was smart, shrewd. He aligned with the right people, maybe unwittingly.
Yeah.
But he befriended Danielle and Rob, and that protected him a lot.
And also, I think I like that he wasn't actually a reality, like he wasn't like a star like other people.
Yeah.
He can kind of like tell. I mean, like his brother probably has been in the limelight so much.
Yeah.
But he actually seems very down to earth.
He handled it with class and
Yeah,
aplomb. He
very
played
classy.
very well.
Yeah, he looked great in a suit too.
Looks great in a suit. And finally, Gabby.
Oh,
who-
Gabby! Actually, I think she's actually one of my favorites. Like
She's my
at first, I
favourite.
wasn't sure at first. I just thought she just seemed so ditzy, but I was like, oh wow, that's actually she, underneath all that ditziness, she's actually a
She's
very very smart.
Very
girl.
smart, very funny.
And I was
Very
very
entertaining.
impressed with like how strong she persevered during that challenge where you had all the bugs, raining down on you and
Yeah.
your hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and very entertaining, and her instincts proved to be very right as
Mm.
well. She just got shouted down, or at least out voiced a few times by louder, older, more experienced players, but
Yeah.
a lot of her instincts were right, like about Carolyn and Danielle in the book room, and Bob v. Rob, and Danielle versus Carolyn being like Bob v. Rob. She read things beautifully.
Yeah.
So to me, the two best faithfuls were Gabby and Dylan. I think those two were brilliant all season. They deserved every bit of victory they get. So good on them.
Yeah, I think she kind of like Gabby kind of reminds me of like Cher in like Clueless. You know, it's just you know like I'll just make some remarks and some of them might be right and that's okay. But if they're right, I'm not really gonna push them. You know,
still lovable no matter what.
Yeah, like it's important to be agreeable and you know like
She's
nice all
great.
the time.
Yeah, very entertaining. I think which leads us to the final part of our show. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk about all the contestants, right? And we're going to rate them, okay? So, cast them, pass them, or mid. So, cast them means you put them in a show again, a reality show, you want to see more of them. Pass them means you've seen enough. And mid means meh, indifferent, okay? Mm-hmm. So, this isn't how good they were on the show. This isn't like, oh, you were a great...
traitor hunter
or faithful or whatever. It means, were you good television?
Yeah.
Okay? So... let's start from the top. Tony Vlachos.
Yes.
Cast him, pass him, or mid?
Okay, cast.
I'm going to say pass.
Okay.
I thought, I've seen him enough before. He didn't really offer anything new. Pass for me. Cast?
Okay.
Wells Adam.
Oh, I'm just going to say mid because we haven't actually seen very much of him
He was
so
a bit
far.
mid too, a bit meh.
Yeah.
Pass, I'm going to say.
Yeah. And maybe he could actually have been very good in the show, but there just wasn't enough airtime on him.
Yeah. Derek. Cast him,
Derek,
pass him,
I think
or mid?
definitely cast.
Cast. Wes.
Cast.
Cast. Tom Sandoval.
Cast.
Cast. Tom Sandoval, you're a star. You're hilarious. Trishelle.
Cast.
Bob Harper.
Cast.
Cast. Nikki Garcia.
Pass.
Sam Asghari.
Mid, maybe. I think I like it towards the end where he started speaking out because he's actually very, very good. But he I think maybe he could have done it sooner.
Yeah.
But that could be the show.
Robin Dixon.
Dixon,
remember?
Yeah.
Pass, I'm going to say.
Yeah, maybe pass, I think.
Okay. Ciara Miller. Cast, pass, mid.
Pass, I think.
Great outfits, but pass. Too much swearing, Ciara. And a bit too... like,
and also, I don't know, I didn't really feel like she made... I don't know, maybe like no
didn't
great
really give
lines.
us much television.
Yeah, like great outfits though. Yeah.
Dorinda, the first to go.
That was hard, I think. Actually, you know what? I think maybe cast because she actually did speak up about the fact that, you know, she was left on the pontoon and everyone, you know, like so I think, you know, Dorinda cast.
Dylan, Ephraim. Cast. Boston Rob.
Oh, come on. I don't need to say that.
Cast. Lord Ivar Mountbatten. He has to be called Lord before his name, you know that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that would be funny because in the show, I think they just call him Ivor, right?
Yeah, hey, Ivor. Hey, what's up, Ivor?
He's wrong. I wonder if he's like, oh my God, I'm really not being used.
Lord Ivor. I know. I wonder if he really upsets him. You know, it feels like he's just equal with everybody. This is BS. Or whether he likes it.
Cast.
Pass. I'm going to pass on Lord Ivor. I think I've seen enough of him.
Okay.
Danielle Reyes.
She does make for good drama. I don't personally love Danielle. So, but I think she does make for good television, so cast.
I'm going to pass. I think I've seen enough of Danielle. You're good, but a little bit...
yeah, like the reason I'm passing Danielle, not because I like her, but because I do think that she can be very polarizing, and that is good television.
That's good television, yeah, true. It's all perspective. You can go wherever you want. Gabby, Windy.
Pass. Oh, sorry. What did I say? No, I meant cast.
Cast.
Yeah, because they're also similar. The two terms.
Jeremy Collins.
Pass. Sorry. No, cast.
I'm gonna say pass. I think he was a bit great player, but he just I've seen so much of him on Survivor, so pass for me.
Yeah.
Dolores Catania.
Mid.
Meh. Yeah. Carolyn Wigger.
Cast.
Brittany Hayes.
Pass.
Bob the Drag
Queen. Oh, come on.
Queen.
Like, you know, of course, cast.
Superstar.
Chanel? Oh
I'm
no,
gonna
Ayan.
I'm gonna say cast.
I'm gonna say cast. Yeah,
She's-
we actually haven't seen much of her.
We needed to see more of Chanel.
I
She's
think
really funny.
Yeah, she's really funny, and
And
she has like
entertaining.
really, really great outfits too.
Great outfits.
Okay.
She's basically a supermodel, knows how to dress. Okay, are we gonna wrap it up there?
No, that's not her. That's Chanel Iman, I think.
I know, but she looks like her.
Oh, she
no?
does look like her. Yeah. Okay.
That's
okay.
what I meant. She
Oh,
looks
okay.
like Iman.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was her at first, but then I thought that doesn't make sense because she's 30 years younger. Anyway, should we wrap it up?
Yes. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. This is a wrap up, and thank you for listening to the show. This is the Wreckcreate Reality Podcast by Michael and Teresa. You can find us on Wreckcreate on TikTok and Instagram. That's WRECK. .CREATE, where you can watch funny short clips of what we've talked about. If you like what you hear, be sure to like and subscribe to our pod. It really helps us a big deal, and we are extremely grateful for any support you give. We'll be back. No, that's
Survivor.
something. We'll be back with Survivor.
AU.
Brains versus Brawn.
But that's
so,
it. But that's it for our Traitors
that's
season.
it for Traitors.
Hopefully we'll come back with maybe Traitors UK or Traitors US season 4, but
is there a New Zealand season?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. But
Yeah.
I hope if you're a Traitors fan, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate everything. I hope you've enjoyed following our takes.
Yeah.
And we've really appreciated any support. So
Yeah, I know, and
wrapped
thank you.
another
And we've
season.
actually really enjoyed watching this season of Traitors.
Yeah.
It's still in its very infancy stage, and I think there's a lot of like
potential
in the game. So we had
Shall we
fun.
finish with our masks?
Yep. Okay.
Let's finish with our masks. Okay, bye-bye everyone. Thank you for supporting us.
See ya. Bye.
See you for the next one.